be the tight ends coach but still run the offense?
I love it. It's great. Guys, my room's a great room. Guys are working hard. It's cool to coach tight ends just because they do everything. Get a little bit of the run game, get a little bit of pass protection, get route running. We've got a bunch of smart kids in there that work hard. So it's been a pleasure thus far.
I know you've done this before, but how do you, in this specific situation, especially when you've got young quarterbacks, how do you balance your work with the tight ends and still wanting to see as much as you can of the whole offense?
Yeah, it's really easy. I mean, we got a great staff. Bringing Glenn on board, we've known each other for 20 years. We think the same. We have the same expectations of quarterback play. So, it's easy for me to go in and out of the tight end room to the quarterback room to make sure that we're maintaining a relationship, because that's crucial, because I'm going to have to communicate to those guys, throughout the game. It's been a very easy transition to this point.
Zach Coach Rule said that having you coach the tight ends will help them be more involved on the field. Just from your point of view, how's that going to happen?
I don't know. I think that it'll be good for him to have the play caller in the room. I think the way that I'll teach will probably expand their brains a little bit, because I'm not just teaching the tight end. I'm teaching the tight end a lot of times like the quarterback. And so I think that'll help them. But it won't be like magically, because I'm going to try to get them the ball because I'm coaching them now. I think just naturally year two of the offense, I think our quarterback play is going to improve. I think that if the quarterback play improving, then the pass game is going to improve, so everybody gets more touches. I think it's just layer after layer of development as coaches, players, and program.
Where do you think Fedoni can go after, having 1 year where he had a fully healthy season and now building off of that?
I think he's set mentally and physically to have a really good year. I don't want to sit here and jinx him and say a breakout year, but we have a lot of high expectations for him. Having the pleasure of watching him practice the first 5 times, I mean, he's moving around really, really, really well. He has a great understanding of our offense. He's getting a lot of balls thrown at him. He's catching the ball well. He's running after the catch. So, I'm ready for him to take that next step, and I think he's ready to take the next step.
You mentioned it was pretty seamless with Glenn coming in. What was it like those first days you got in the meeting room back with him again and reunited in that way?
Oh, it's easy. I mean, like he'll tell you, like I'm a little bit of the crazy one off the wall when he's the calm one. I'm the yin, he's the yang. So it was easy. It's like, we've been together and coached together now for I think 5 or 6 years and known him forever. So it's been really easy. It's been fun.
Where should this offense get better?
We're going to throw the ball. We have to be able to throw the ball. I think we're always going to find a way to run the ball. But as you saw last year, I mean, you can run the balls, well, but there's going to come times when you have to win a game, you have to throw the ball. So we've really been focusing on just our passing game and our pass protection and our route running and just all the concepts of throwing the football.
For incoming freshmen, how far ahead are guys like Dylan and Daniel just with their footwork, their knowledge of the game of football, just the training they've had before they got here?
You talk about just being mid-year guys?
Yeah.
And how far along they are? Yeah. It's amazing. We were watching them 2 days ago practice 4, completing a bunch of balls, and you sit there and you forget sometimes that's Dylan and Danny's 4th practice in college going against these guys, and they're still able to have the poise and the footwork and the timing in their brains and the knowledge of the system already to get completions, because it's hard to do, especially against our defense moving around like they do. So I think that they're ahead of schedule. And, the good thing about those guys is they're competitors and they work their butts off, on the field and off the field to make sure when they do get on the field, they understand what's going on and where everybody's going to be.
So you look at our wide receivers, how have some of those, new additions, Banks, Nair, and some of the freshmen kind of fit in and help that?
Yeah, it's a great room. And, kind of like we were talking about coaching the tight ends, like quarterbacks, Garrett coaches those guys like they're, they don't just learn routes, they learn the system and they learn the why we're calling plays. So I think, that room's got to take a step, and they've already taken a step this spring. I think just the depth we added with our 2 older guys that we brought in, and then the mid-year freshman coming in, and then D-Bale being able to be activated this year. I think, we've got good depth, got a lot of good speed, a lot of guys that can make plays, and they've shown that thus far. So it's good to see.
What stood out about the running back room and how that competition's going?
We don't have the full allotment out there yet, but I think that, they all, just like I'll tell you every year, they all have their different traits. Some guys catch the ball, some guys run the ball, some guys run through you, some guys run around you. So, again, we've been really, focusing on throwing the football a little bit more. this spring thus far, and then the first two helmets being first two practices being in helmets. We haven't got a lot of full contact play, so I think we'll be able to tell a lot about the running backs after we get our first live scrimmage and we see who can break a tackle and who can make a guy miss.
Who among the allotment do you have available right now?
We have Dante, we have Emmett, we have RJ, we have. I hate when I have to name names. I'll forget people, but we're just holding a couple out just for precautionary reasons. But nobody's out just due to tour injury where they couldn't play. It's just being cautious.
What do you think of Dante's game so far? I mean,
he's a physical runner, like very, very, very physical runner downhill. Like even in thud, he tries to run through your face. So he's shown that the last practice, had a couple good runs just from a physicality standpoint.
You mentioned Demetrius. Been hearing about him. What do you have to do to get him involved, and what can he do if he's involved?
He's shown it out there already. Just he can catch the ball, and then what he does after he catches it is he's got a special trait. He's a very smart kid. He works really hard. He knows multiple positions, so he can go and get a lot of snaps that way. But I think he just has to keep playing football, stay healthy, and keep playing, and he'll be fine.
You scrimmage Saturday?
That's a coach rule question. I don't know. I just go day by day, but I'm sure we'll get a little action on Saturday.
Yeah, if you get a little action, what are you looking for early in spring?
Taking care of the football, number one, first priority. Two, don't beat ourselves before the ball is snapped with procedure penalties, being able to line up correctly, play as hard as we possibly can, know and do your job, and play with great effort.
where do you think you guys were, not half bad throwing the ball last year? Like, was there a component of the pass game that you were like, well, it's not as bad as it could have been, and it was decent?
I think we threw the deep ball at times well. Off our play action stuff, we had a couple of those deep shots middle to the end of the year. But just the total aspect of throwing the ball, just from quick game to down the field shots to moving the pocket, that's something that we got to improve on all facets of the game.
I'm curious about the quick game. You guys didn't do a ton of it last year. How much more have you worked on that, and how effective can it be for an offense if they can get that throw out there and just get?
I think it can be really effective. We talk about just getting the ball in play, like just throw it, catch it, get the ball in play, and get the ball moving, and not just having to rely on the run game all the time, but get it to those guys in space and see if they can make a guy miss and create an explosive.
Feels like Lyndon Meyer and Orchestra sometimes don't get as much headlines, but how big a deal are guys like that, and just how do you feel about like the versatility you have with body types and all that with your tight ends and guys who are coming in and stuff?
Yeah, huge. I think that they all have their different types. Like you have inline blockers, guys that play off the ball, that kind of play that fullback type tight end role, and then you got guys like Thomas that can do a little bit of everything. But Nate and Luke are we're going to rely on them a lot to do a lot of different things. Playing in 12 personnel, 13 personnel at times. They got to know receiver positions, and those guys have played a lot of football and been, productive when called upon.
Anything else for Seth?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.